had all these anxieties. I was intimidated. But one of the people who also has been my cheerleader since they knew that I was a creative, he's late now, may he rest in peace, Director Jones Nasilele. He told me that, look, they've seen what you have within you. They haven't picked you because you are the best, but they've picked you based on what they've seen in you. Go out there and do what you can do. Just give them your best. At home, the only person who supported that was my dad, because he had a background in journalism. He had worked for like many newspapers before, notably the Post, right? And so he was really excited to have, you know, a child, a daughter also wanting to pursue something that were in the lines. I remember he encouraged me through the application process, and I applied. I was picked to be part of the Children's Press Bureau, but people at home were not really, you know, about it. They think, you know, I'm playing around, you know, instead of focusing on school, you know. Atosekanawo, meaning she's just playing around instead of focusing on school, right? And I started volunteering as a production assistant. That is something else that, you know, was never really start well with my mom, because she was like, you're working for free, you're not even making any money. You understand that kind of thing, you see? So for her, what didn't sit well with it was that I wasn't making any money out of it. But then for me, I just had that passion. I just wanted to do film. All right. But then at some point I had to, you know, get my life together, because I had to start taking care. You get to an age where you know that you do have to make money somehow, one way or another, no matter what support you're getting from everywhere. And, you know, I'm an eldest daughter, eldest granddaughter, eldest everything. So it's like the sense of responsibility also just kicks in, like, okay, yeah, I'm getting all this support, but let me also get responsible. And that's how come I took a detour and went to teaching school.
So I hear you've mentioned how, oh, this person recommended that person. So would you say that building those relationships is very important in this particular industry?
Yes. Next to talent, I think, not only in the film industry, but everywhere, next to talent, we're supposed to be people who people can work with, I think.
Definitely.
Yes. So you can have the talent, but if people can't really work with you, or if you're not a team player, it's hard for people to want to work with you. From how I see it, as writers, we're always encouraged to observe life.
Oh, okay.
We are always looking. Sometimes I'll be in a place, I'm not doing anything, I'm just observing life.
Okay.
Because we cannot experience everything that we write about, but if we observe, it's easier to write about those things, because our characters have to be as real and as relatable as possible, because that's the only way that our audience will then get to watch.
Hello and welcome to the Money and People podcast, the show where we connect the dots between financial success and the power of human capital. Today, we are exploring a career in script writing, and we are going to be exploring the art of storytelling from Zuba to Mungoma to Mpali with Clementina Mulungushi. Welcome to the show, Clementina.
Thank you so much, Delia.
Okay, so Clementina, before we dive in, I know you're used to being somewhere, not even behind the camera, but somewhere off the set.
Yes.
So how do you feel being in front of the cameras today?
A little nervous, but we'll get through it.
Okay, no, just remember to feel right at home.
Thank you so much.
Okay, if your life was a telenovela, what would the title be?
It would be Clementina itself.
Okay.
Yes.
would just follow your life story.
Yes, you'd follow my life story and the lives of other people who've impacted my life.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think it would be quite a blockbuster.
Blockbuster. Okay, what would be the plot twist? Because I know with telenovelas, it's like, ooh, something just always will happen that will catch you off guard.
Yes, but then if I tell them now, you wouldn't look forward to watching it. So we'll keep the plot twist a secret.
Okay, it's okay. We'll
Trade
remain in suspense. So do you remember the first story that you ever told?
Yes, in junior high, actually.
Okay.
There's a play that I wrote for the school drama group, and it was a basic story about, you know, a girl who gets pregnant and someone wants to force her to abort and all that kind of thing, but she goes through it. She doesn't go through with the abortion. So yes, that was my first story.
Okay, but what inspired that story?
I think being young and those were things that people my age were going through, and I think are still going through. People in their teens, they still go through such situations, and so it was very relatable and it came naturally to me.
Okay. And is there any Zambian proverb that usually captures how you approach your own storytelling?
Um, Maybe not exactly the storytelling, but just the art of being a scriptwriter itself, and that is in Lenje, right? We say, and I might not get the intonation correct, but
Yeah.
it says, munene mano ngawamshia, lubiro ngawamshia, but mano tomushi, meaning you can run faster than an elder person, but you cannot outwise an elderly person. Yes. And
Oh.
so for me, that's very important because I always look up to people who've gone before me in storytelling and script writing, to see what can I learn, Yes, I'm a script writer, but there's always something to learn from someone else,
Yeah.
especially those who've gone before us.
Yeah, because nothing
Yes.
really beats experience.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
if you weren't a scriptwriter today, what would you have been doing?
A primary school teacher, A for apple, B for ball.
That's interesting, and it will take us right back to where you started. So,
Yes.
for the audience and those who don't know you, who is Clementina Mulungushi? How did you come into becoming a scriptwriter?
Okay, so it's always interesting that when someone asks you, say, who is Clementina Mulungushi, she's like, oh, what do I know about myself? But
Yes.
I am a human being.
Okay, first and
First
foremost.
and foremost, drum roll. Yes,
Yes.
but I am a passionate person. I'm very passionate about the things that I do. I am not only a scriptwriter, but I'm an emerging producer and filmmaker, and I'm an educator as well. It's something that is very close to me. Yes,
Okay.
so I have a background in primary school teaching. That's where I started from before I switched to script writing full time.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you study to be a scriptwriter, or is
No.
there something that people need to study to get to where you are?
Well, for script writing, I never studied to be a script writer. It's something that has always been in me. I was born a creative. So, like, even when I was a young person, I would always create dialogue in my mind, and, I would always want to write, and there was always creativity flowing in one way or another. Whether it's musical creativity, I used to love writing song lyrics. When I love a song, I would always make sure I know the lyrics. So, creativity has always been a part of me. And so, like, when I finished my high school, the first thing that I really, really wanted to pursue was a career in filmmaking and script writing, starting from script writing because it's my first love in
Yeah.
film. Yes, so just after grade 12, I wrote my first feature film. It's not yet out, it never really went anywhere, but that helped me get into spaces, that helped me, have the courage to step up there and go and look for all opportunities and say, okay, this is what I have. I didn't get it then, but it's still got me somewhere later on in the future. In that, because I stepped out, I got to meet people who then were willing to help me on my journey as a
Okay.
scriptwriter. They were willing to mentor me. One person that I'll always mention in my story is Anna Piri. She took me by the hand and said, "Child, I'll show you the way."
Oh,
Yes,
so that's
yes,
like
yes.
your mentor in your
She's my
career.
mentor among many others, but
Yeah.
I would love to say she's the first person who believed in me and actually acted upon her belief in me.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's interesting. And so, what would you say was your first meaningful experience or opportunity in film or TV, and what did you learn from that experience?
Okay, so my first meaningful experience was actually when I got a job as a production assistant. That was my entry point into film.
Okay.
It was meaningful in that if I didn't have that entry point, I would have never gotten to where I am, you see,
Okay.
and where I'm going, of course.
Yeah.
So in that position, I learned to serve because you have to serve. You're
Yeah.
serving everybody, and then you learn how to talk to people, how to like manage different people and characters and everything, because it's quite a humble position, but in that humility itself, yes, and humility as well is something that I really, really learned, because for me, humility is a very, very significant factor in my life and in my career as well. I love to not take praise to myself, no matter how good it gets. I always say, we worked as a team, or glory
Yeah.
be to God, because in as much as it is my talent, my God-given talent, but it is God's at the end of the day, and glory goes
Yeah.
to God and the team that we work with.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me something. You were always creative, and I know typical Zambian parents, they want their kids to follow a certain career path. Did you ever have those difficult conversations to say, I want to pursue a creative route, and then they want you to pursue a different route? How did you handle those?
Wow, there that was like a whole chapter of my life,
Yeah.
maybe even a whole book, a whole season,
Okay.
because first of all, let's like go back to high school. So when we're in grade 10, there's this thing that came up. It was called the Children's Press Bureau. Okay, it was basically a team of child reporters would report on children's matters and everything. It was run by youth media. Then so when they came to our school, they were looking for like people to join this movement and everything. I was so excited. I knew I wanted to be a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then at home, and I know I can share this story safely. Yes,
Okay.
so at home, yes, because some people will be like, no, she's badmouthing her parents, but it's something that we've gotten past,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So at home, the only person who supported that was my dad, because he had
Oh.
a background in journalism. He had worked for like many newspapers before, notably the Post, right? And so he was really excited to have a child, a daughter, also wanting to pursue something that were in the lines. I remember he encouraged me through the application process, and I applied. I was picked to be part of the Children's Press Bureau, but people at home were not really, about it. They think,
Yeah.
I'm playing around, instead of focusing on school, Atose Kanawo, meaning she's just playing around instead of focusing on school, right? But
Yeah.
then, and I always say, me wanting to pursue a career in creativity is the only thing that I really went against my parents about, because it was the fire that was burning in me. And I said, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? This is what I really want to do. And I really love the
Yeah.
fact that my dad supported it. So when I completed my grade 12, and I started volunteering as a production assistant. That is something else that, was never really sat well with my mom, because she was like, you're working for free. You're not even making any money. You understand that kind of thing, you
Oh,
see? So for her,
okay.
what didn't sit well with it was that I wasn't making any money out of it. But then
Mm-hmm.
for me, I just had that passion. I just wanted to do film. All right. But then at some point, I had to, get my life together, because I had to start taking care of, um, you get to an age where you know that you do have to make money somehow, one way
Yeah.
or another, no matter what support you're getting from every way. And I'm an eldest daughter, eldest granddaughter, eldest
Okay.
everything. So it's like the sense of responsibility also just kicks in. Like, okay, yeah,
Yes.
I'm getting all this support, but let me also get responsible. And that's how come I took a detour and went to teaching school. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's when you became a primary school
Yes,
teacher.
that's when I became a primary school teacher. When I was going to teaching school, it was really out of, oh no, let me go so that I can make money, right? I can learn to make money for myself.
Yeah.
But then I ended up really, really loving teaching, especially kids, because I am a passionate person about foundations. I'm passionate about foundations, because I believe when we get foundations right, whatever happens inside is always good.
Yeah.
So I love that experience. And kids are just interesting people. Also, kids taught me a lot of patience, because
Yeah.
children will test your patience.
Yo, you never know until you have to interact with them closely, not those long distance interactions.
Exactly. And so this one is teacher, this one has done this, teacher. So now you have to,
Yo.
you have to sort out issues. You are a class manager, you are a teacher, you are sorting out issues for them. It's not just about A, B's and C's. You are like their second mom when you're in
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
So you get to learn a lot of things uh, through teaching children. So yes, and then after I actually taught at a private school for 3 years before
Okay.
leaving and then committing full time to writing.
Okay.
Yes.
And even when you were now moving, I'm sure your family, those who had those reservations, when they saw that you're going into teaching, they were happy, okay, a bit of security. Now, after 3 years, you decide again, like, okay, I'm back into this thing full time.
Yeah.
Did that come up again, or maybe by this time you're old enough and they think you've figured it all out?
At that point, there was acceptance
Okay.
because I think they just realized that this child will do what she wants. Like she's really really passionate, and I wasn't stepping on anyone's toes. I wasn't doing something that was
Yeah,
illegal, right?
yeah,
So at that point, I think they had seen that it's a passion that continued to burn within me.
yeah.
So it's like they had to allow me to let it burn.
That's amazing. I guess
Yes.
at the end of the day, um, people will give you that advice. They will have those reservations because of their own experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you then got to be that one person who showed them that, okay, it can be done differently and it can also work.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so coming now into the actual script writing,
Mm-hmm.
we go into the time that you joined Zuba in season 3, and eventually you became like the story editor, right?
Yes, yes.
So, what was it like stepping into an already established series and helping it, like, bring it to a close? What was the whole experience like?
So it was intimidating. No
Okay.
lies. It's something that I really wanted to do, but when it came at first, I was like,
Imposter
okay,
syndrome.
yes, imposter syndrome. Like, okay, this has happened. Am I really going to make it work? Am I really going to, you know, qualify? Are they going to really be happy with what I'm doing? And
Mm,
so I had all these anxieties. I was intimidated. But one of the people who also has been my cheerleader since they knew that I was a creative, he's late now, may his rest in peace, Director Jones Nasilele. He told me that, look, they've seen what you have within you. They haven't
yeah,
picked you because you are the best, but they've picked you based on what they've seen in you. Go out there and do what you can do. Just give them
yeah.
your best. And so I remember my first writing meeting very well. I walked in, and everyone in that room were established writers. Like everyone was an established writer. And I was thinking, oh my goodness. So we're seated in, like, there was a semicircle, and then there were seats outside the semicircle, right?
Yeah.
I went to sit in the corner outside the semicircle because first of all, I
Yo.
didn't want to be seen in that meeting for some
Yes.
reason. I was like, let me just shrink in a corner and
Oh
just listen.
no. Yeah.
All right. But then I worked with wonderful bosses. I had people and teammates. They welcomed me, they made me feel comfortable. And when they saw that I was too quiet, they would ask, especially my executive producer and producer on Zuba, Mr. Fred Peary, he would always ask Clementina, do you want some, do you, this, is there anything that you'd like to contribute to the topic?
Oh,
And so that really helped me to like flourish and talk because I suffered a lot of social anxiety.
I
All
can
right. So now
imagine.
stepping into this place where I actually have to express my thoughts and talk, it was always like, oh, okay, I have to talk and contribute to the topic and all that. But as I've said, I worked with wonderful people, my bosses, my teammates. We are very understanding and they really, really helped me flourish. And I began to communicate and I began to write. And as I said earlier, learning from other people. So my first editor on Zula season 3 was I call her Aunt Ellen because she has really been more than a boss to me.
Okay.
She became more like a motherly figure to me. So I call her Aunt. Yes, she's Ellen Banda Aku. I learned a lot from her. I learned a
Okay.
lot from her because one thing about me is that I'll tell you when I don't understand something
Yeah.
and I'll ask for guidance. And she
Yeah.
was so open to providing that guidance and all that. And then, there are a number of other teammates as well. Later on, I got to work with Adora Mwape. She's like an amazing person as well. She helped me because she's so creative as well. So she helped me
Okay.
see things in a different form and everything. Chemwa Sinkala. It might seem as if I'm just not mentioning men, I mean
Credits.
women, but then also, and
Female
credits, yes,
credits.
but I love to give credit where it's
Where it's
due.
due. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. We also have Uncle Chris, he's late now, but those are all people who really, really shaped my journey.
Okay.
Also, I would mention a lot of people, but we'll keep it here. But
Okay.
yes,
That's interesting. Also, I didn't know we had that many women and powerful women in film.
yes, yes,
Would
we
you
do.
say, how would you say filming has evolved in terms of just being inclusive for both
Mm.
men and women? And are there any deliberate moves to make sure that it's inclusive for everyone?
Filming, first of all, yes, answer it like in the order that you've asked the question. So it has evolved very much, yes, because women have decided to also step up, I
Yeah.
feel, because they're like, okay, they have a talent, they are putting themselves out there, we are putting ourselves out there, right? But yes, systems have also made it that women are incorporated. Like I know for a fact on the projects, all the projects that I've worked on, there's supposed to be a female writer, if not one, then two. Even on the directing team, there's always female representation at every level. So
Okay, I
yes,
didn't know that.
we are
That's
we are
amazing.
taking ground, and we are appreciative of our male counterparts as well, because they are very supportive. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't walk into a space and feel like, oh no, because I'm a woman, they'll encourage you. They're like, oh no,
Okay.
let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. I recently did a director apprenticeship program, and it was so amazing. The respect, the encouragement. You didn't feel like, oh no, I'm a woman. No,
Really?
yes.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
Now, let's talk a little bit or about your journey with Mungoma.
Hmm.
How did you come to being part of the project, and what was your experience like? Because that is where you even got to become head writer, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
how
yes,
did you
yes.
evolve into leadership, and what was the experience like?
Wow, Mungoma was such a wonderful experience to begin with, because it was a musical drama series,
Yeah.
and I love music
Yeah.
at the core of it. And working with Jerox as well, because I had been a Jerox fan from their Zone Farm days.
Wow.
So then having to now, oh, he's my boss and everything, that was amazing. I was recommended to write on Mungoma by Aunt Ellen, the woman that I had just mentioned,
Okay.
yes. And then in season 1 and season 2, she was actually our head writer. But then when we went to season 3, she was given a show of her own. Yes, so she had to focus on producing her show. So they had to fill in the position of head writer. And after discussing, they decided they were going to give it to me. And I was so honored, because being entrusted with such a big role,
Yeah.
that role I took with honor and fear at the same time, because it's like, I can't mess this up. The
Yeah.
foundation has been laid so well,
Yeah.
and I've been entrusted with this task. I
Yeah.
have to make it. Cannot be perfect, but I have to give
Yeah.
in my all. So yeah, and getting into leadership was from on Mungoma. It was quite easy, because I worked with a wonderful team. Like the team, like my teammates on the writing team, they did not feel sideways about me being the head writer. They
Okay.
still gave me the same. We awarded each other the same respect, and on Mungoma, I also met my current boss on Mpali, because we were teammates on Mungoma. So this is how
Oh.
the film industry works. On one team you're head writing, on the next team, someone that you were writing with on another team, you were the head writer, they'll be your head writer. So it's always about, maintaining good
Oh.
relationships at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yes,
I see
yes,
that now.
yes.
And also, I hear you've mentioned how, oh, this person recommended that person. So would
Hmm.
you say that building those relationships is very important in this particular industry?
Yes, building relationships, because next to talent, I think, not only in the film industry but everywhere, next to talent, we are supposed to be people who people can work with, I
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
Yes, yes. So you
Yeah.
can have the talent, but if people can't really work with you, or if you're not like a team player, it's hard for people to want to work with you, from how I see it.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's why I said, being a production assistant was important for me, because what matters is entry level. Once you get
Oh,
in,
once you get in, then you can
yes,
build those relationships that can help you
exactly,
get to work on other projects.
exactly. But if you just want to get in, like, yes, some people have gotten in just already as scriptwriters and already on like other positions, but always accept your point of entry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. And so when you look at your particular work on Zuba, Mungoma, were there any particular scenes or
Hey.
storylines that really like they stuck with you personally?
On Mungoma, so we had one of our main characters was Naomi. So she was at splits with herself, at conflict, because she was a church leader and everything, women's group leading, but on the side to make their business work, they were using charms.
Okay.
So that conflict in itself was it stuck with me, and it was even very interesting to write because, like, two faces.
So that's interesting.
Yes.
How do you come to write such characters? How do you get into this? Is now the creative process. How do you come up with this storyline? How do you get to even understand to say for a character to be like this, she needed to have gone through this or that, and even the charm story. I mean, if you've never ever dealt with charms, how are you now writing
How are you
about
now
it?
writing? Ha, that's very interesting. So, first of all, as writers, we are always encouraged to observe life.
Oh,
We are
okay.
always looking. Sometimes I'll be in a place, I'm not doing anything, I'm just observing life.
Okay.
Because we cannot experience everything that we write about, but if we observe, it's easier to write about those
Yeah.
things. Yes, so we start from there, and then when it comes to like characterization, that's actually one of the first things that we do. Like after ideation, like after having your idea, you now start putting flesh onto the characters, because our characters have to be as real and as relatable as possible, because that's the only way that our audience will then get to watch.
Yes.
Because you think, oh, this person, is a churchy person. Oh, I'm also a churchy person, I can relate to this part of the character. Oh no, this person doesn't like nonsense. They're very orderly in what they do, they're neat and whatnot.
Yes.
And I'm this person. So usually the characterization process actually takes a long time, because
Okay.
you want to make your characters make sense, and also the storylines, how we make our characters. I'll give a practical example, right? With Naomi herself, she was conflicted, okay? But then she had people around her who were looking up to her to be a particular person. So then we've created this character who's conflicted, and then we create this character who's looking up to her. So automatically they are, if their storylines are influencing each other. So, and that's why characterization takes a long time, because all the characters have to like blend at some point. The characters can't just be scattered, because then our audiences will now be like, hey, what's happening here? What's happening here? So whatever happens, I always give an example of the spine and the ribs. So the story is like one spine, but then it has all these ribs coming to it, right? So it's like different characters, different storylines, different, but it always has to maintain this one spine for it to make sense.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
And then when you're going through your creative process, how do you deal with times when you just can't move past the writer's block?
Me, I step out of the house. I
Okay.
step out. I'll just close my laptop and go wherever I have to go. Whether I have to visit a friend, or I have to, just go out of town for a moment, because my mind needs to open up. And for me, that happens when I just step outside and go into
Mm-hmm.
like open spaces, different spaces altogether.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, when we talk about Zambian storytelling,
Yes.
what makes it different from the broader African or international film landscape?
Mm-hmm.
Are
Mm-hmm.
there unique challenges that are like special to only Zambia, and how do you see us overcoming them?
Um, I wouldn't say the unique challenges would be special to only Zambia. Maybe I would put them as a region, probably. Maybe
Oh, okay.
Central Africa. Maybe because we have like similar issues like in our regions in terms of filmmaking, right? Sometimes it's financial support. Sometimes it's just times to shoot. Like, okay, we have this thing to shoot, but do we have all this time to shoot? Because in Hollywood, for instance, they can take 2 years to shoot one movie, but here, very few filmmakers have the luxury to do that.
Okay. Is it like
So,
a money issue? What's the issue?
to be honest, it would be, money is part of the issue, right? But also, I think we haven't yet reached that stage. Maybe we're still young and, getting to that stage. Because if I'm going to, okay, it still comes back to the money, right? Because if we are going to lock down an actress or an actor for 2 years, we have to pay them monthly for all those
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
right? But we do not have the financial capacity to do that. So the best thing I would do, like, if I'm shooting a script, is that, okay, uh, what can we do within a month? You see, let's see
Oh,
how
so you're
quick we
forced
can
to film
close
faster
this.
to manage the cost.
Yes, yes. The quicker we film it, the better we manage it. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So is that what it would take to like move our film industry to the levels of like South African, Nigerian films? Because you see, growing up, we would be so interested
Yes,
in
yes, yes,
Nigerian movies,
yes, yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes, yes,
when
yes.
growing up. I know now it's improved. Like you can see, we are hooked to Zambezi Magic and all those things. But I remember a time when growing up, we would be so interested in SABC.
Yes,
We are
yes.
watching Bollywood, Nollywood.
Yes, yes.
But aside from the financial aspect, is there anything else that you feel can take us to those levels where we can have people in other countries are excited to watch our productions?
Collaborations as well would be
Okay.
nice, like especially for independent filmmakers. Uh, so for independent filmmakers, most of us self-fund our
Okay.
projects. All right, self-fund our projects. Not only self-fund, but I think in wanting to save on money or to manage the financial cost better, we tend to do a lot of things by ourselves. For instance, I can be the writer and director and producer and then because then I don't get to, spend too much. So even if I have like this amount of money, I'll be able to manage because I don't even have to pay myself because I want to see the project go out there, right? But if we are more willing to say, okay, let's come together and work on this project, I'm just going to write, okay? And then someone else focuses on the directing, someone else focuses on the producing. I think it will also help us because then we are bringing in, teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Yeah,
So we're
definitely.
bringing different expertise. We all have our own, sense of creativity, and in that way, we make a more beautiful project.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, yes.
And from the time that you joined this industry to where we are now, what are the big changes you've seen in how local TV is made and received?
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, there have been a lot of changes. There have been a lot of changes in that, especially on the making side. I think on the reception side, we've had our audience since time immemorial. Growing up, we had our play circles and all that. Those still had an audience, and then at some point, there was Banja on movie TV. Movie TV came with a lot of local productions that had like quite a good audience. But from the making side, we are um how do I put it? I don't want to say becoming more professional, but then it's it's less stressful. Then most of us would make films in a gorilla style, like just have to make do with what you can.
Yes, yeah,
Yes, but now there's more emphasis on quality. What are we putting out there?
yes.
My friend and I just we premiered our first co-produced film. She wrote it, and then we co-produced in August, right? And then one thing that we learned through that experience was that our director was so keen on quality control from the scripting process. You see,
Okay.
it was okay. No, no, no. We have to change things here. We have to change things here. Let's change things here. We went into the producing process, the editing, everything. There was so much emphasis on quality. So you see, we've moved from let's just make, and get it out there to what exactly are we putting out there?
Okay. That's really good. I'm happy to hear that there are those positive changes. And when you look at your career as a scriptwriter, are there any challenges that you have been facing, and what do you feel needs to be done to close those gaps?
As a scriptwriter, I wouldn't really say there have been many challenges, apart from the ones that we just get like personally in my head and the writing blocks and everything. Because as we have, noted, we have improved a lot, right?
Okay.
So even when it comes to like the opportunities, we do have the opportunities,
Okay.
and I think we also need to probably get to a point of making our own opportunities.
Yeah.
yes, as script writers, because then that would be quite nice to see, moving just from getting the opportunities, but creating our own opportunities. Yes.
Okay. And do you think that script writers get enough recognition in the industry?
It depends. It depends on what you're working on, I
Okay.
think. So there are some script writers. Okay, for instance, I'll say the commission projects that we work on for Zambia's Magic, we do get our recognition like 100%, right?
Mhm.
But there have been instances where maybe writers have written for like an independent person and they get their credit, like the written credit, but there's not too much mention of the script writer,
Mhm.
So it, I think it's a bit here and there because at the end of the day, the script writer is without the script, we don't have the film, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit more, you know, credit maybe from especially independent filmmakers would really be nice for those who've written for independent filmmakers before.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. And so, if there's a young person out there who wants a career in script writing, what advice would you have for them? And if they're also wondering, like, okay, if I go into this space, even now, I know that there's still some parents who would have those reservations because
Yes.
the traditional careers are still being pushed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you have for a young person that is interested in this space?
So the first thing would be write and write, like whatever idea you come up with, write it down as soon as you come up with, because ideas have
Yeah.
a way of running away from us.
Yes.
You think, oh, I still have that idea in my mind, you sit down to write it, you don't know where it went. So write. No idea comes to you by mistake, it's for a purpose. Secondly, fight for your dream.
Yeah.
You're the only one who sees what you want to become, and so you have to fight for it.
Okay. And so, for yourself, looking ahead, what stories are you excited to tell?
Historical films, historical
Okay.
stories about us.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a firm believer of the fact that where we come from shapes where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
But then we do not have many stories that tell of us as a people, of us as a culture, of us as a community. So those are stories that I would really, really want to tell.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And so, in the broad sense, where do you see yourself in the whole Zambian film industry, say in the next 10, 20 years?
I like that. I like that. I like the next 10, 20 years because a lot of people have been predicting the end of the world, but we won't get there.
No, let's not get apocalyptical. Let's just talk like, okay, if we'll all be here in the next 10 to
10,
20
20
years.
years. So I am not only a producer, but an executive producer by that point. I don't know that I would still be writing because maybe producing and executive producing would have taken like more of my space, but I would still contribute to the creativity of like the projects that I'm working on and then go ahead and just produce and executive produce. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's amazing. And here on the Money and People podcast, we like to explore how passion and purpose interact. So, how has storytelling shaped your sense of purpose and your livelihood?
Mm-hmm. So on the purpose side, right? Film is a tool for change,
Okay.
right? Film influences change across the globe.
Yeah.
Yes, so for me, that having to use film as an impactful tool for positive change is what I can relate it to my own purpose,
Okay.
right? And kindly remind me of the second part of the question.
So, in terms of your livelihood, because
Yes.
people these days are like, okay, fine, pursue your passion, but how's it going to shape your livelihood? Will you be able to survive? Will
I
you be
know,
able to,
right? So one time, I'll just say I had one of the people who actually encouraged me, who saw me as a producer even before I ever thought of being a producer, right? He would always say, Clementina, you can't pay your bus fare with passion. You can't tell someone, come, I hug you, here's passion. No, you have to work hard, right?
Yeah.
So as a scriptwriter, for instance, my livelihood right now, I write for a living, right? So, but then there are circumstances where maybe you're a scriptwriter, you want to write, but then you haven't yet gotten a job as a scriptwriter. Find something to do, sell something, do what you have to do to survive, before you get to where you want to get to.
Okay.
Yes.
And going back a little bit to the start, you joined as a production assistant,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, right now, what would you say is a good starting point? Would you recommend the same route that you took? What are the other routes that a young person who's just wanting to join this space can use in order to gain that access to the industry or to even gain visibility?
So, different strokes for different folks,
Yeah.
right? I think everyone has got their own journey and we should all be discerning of that journey. But what matters is to recognize when the opportunity to go in comes. All right.
Okay.
Because sometimes we have the tendency of looking down on positions and opportunities. You like, remember I said at first we never even used to get paid. Like where I started from, we just used to
Yeah.
get a lunch allowance and a transport allowance.
Oh,
All
wow.
right. So, but then I think for me at that point I knew this was it. Like I was going in at that point.
Yeah.
So accept and respect your point of entry.
Okay.
Because whatever happens after that will just flow. But the
Yeah.
point of entry, accept it and respect it, whether it's small, whether it's big, because certain people have gotten in like already at established positions,
Yes.
right? But then I think even for them, they've had to like have their own journey. I know of one person who came in as a scriptwriter already, but she had been writing on Facebook. She had been writing, what's the word?
Oh, those,
Novels,
oh, those
Yes.
stories that people read on
Yes,
Facebook.
yes. She had
Okay.
been writing for the longest time. Tisa Piri, she had been writing for the longest time. And so, people already picked that she was a writer from there, you see.
Wow.
So we all have our different stories. But as I said, and I repeat it, respect and accept your point of entry.
Okay, that
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. I find that these days we're seeing a lot of young people, they want to just start and launch into the top because they feel, okay, I have the talent. But sometimes, like what you mentioned earlier, the experience bit is also important.
Yes.
To just get in the room and be able to learn from the people that
Yes.
are in that room
Yes.
is also going to help you
Yes.
to get to the top.
Yes.
I've learned quite a lot. I feel like tomorrow I can join the filming industry. I'm
Yeah, more than
joking.
welcome.
I'm just joking, but it's been such a wonderful conversation. And as we are concluding now, what's the biggest lesson that you have learned from writing stories that reach wide audiences?
Hmm, that's very interesting. So the first lesson, right? The biggest, anyway, that's the question. So the biggest lesson is that human emotion, human emotions are universal.
Mm-hmm.
We all feel sad. We all
Yeah,
feel happy.
yeah,
We all cry. We all laugh.
yeah,
So when writing stories, we appeal by all means to our emotions,
yeah,
and it's something that we all experience. So yeah,
yeah.
because if I cry about a scene in Zambia, someone will cry about it in, America, in
Yes.
Australia, in Nigeria. So that's the biggest lesson. We all have the same emotions. Yeah, we all experience the same emotions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
hmm hmm
Okay.
So you can't say, oh no, sometimes we look at people who live in the diaspora and say, oh no, they've got it all right and everything. But human emotions are universal. So no matter what's happening with
Yeah.
the next person, and that's why people say, be kind. You don't know what the next person is going through. We all have the same emotions at the end of the day.
Okay. All right, Clementina, it's been an interesting, enjoyable conversation with you, learning the art of storytelling. And for you, the audience, what really stood out for you? What lessons have you learned about storytelling in Zambia? We would like to hear from you in the comments section. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This has been the Money and People podcast. Thank you for watching. Bye.